Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Ripple partner in 43 billion transactions, launching with the SEPA solution in Europe. We're going to get into it. Instant settlement. Christine Lagarde says digital euro this year. We're going to tell you when. Matter of fact, she'll tell you when. We got Anthony Welfare highlights from the digital euro conference, and it's amazing. Banks don't go away. And there's more. Ripple CBDC partner, NDA. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, it's $1.21 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. Good afternoon. The market is off by 1.2%. Right now, Bitcoin, 28,000, slightly over, $17.99 and change for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 80 billion plus right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're watching it closely. 51 cents per XRP, 13.3% up on the 7-day. Let's look at the range of price, 52 cents to 44. We're right down teetering on the bottom of that range at the moment. And I want to show you this, which is Glint. So everybody understands Glint is a way that you can buy, save, send, and spend gold instantly with Glint, with your MasterCard debit card that is issued to you, and no one knows that you're using gold. Just for people so they understand, you may have seen the recent news about Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed with its failure being overseen by U.S. regulators. Please be assured that Glint client money is not held in any SVB bank, and it says Glint is a U.S.-based authorized card program manager. Funds are held at Sutton Bank, a MasterCard issuing bank, and a member of FDIC Corporation. It says here, Glint offers a reliable alternative to fractional reserve banking. That's why I love it. Glint client gold is allocated gold, physically allocated gold. Your gold is legally owned outright by you as a customer, and unlike with banks, it is never put at risk through lending. Your gold is stored under a custody arrangement in a non-government, non-bank bullion vault in Switzerland that is insured by Lloyd's of London. That's what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out for yourself. I love my sponsor. I was a customer first, but you will love it too, I'm sure. Link underneath the video. Gabor Gurbax tells us here that foreign central banks are selling U.S. Treasuries. However, Tether is buying a lot of U.S. Treasuries. U.S. leadership should appreciate Tether for buying and holding U.S. Treasuries. If Tether was a country, it'd be among the top 30 holders of U.S. Treasuries. Well, this is pretty interesting because when you think of that understanding, I really start to lean into the idea that, some people say that Tether's been flipped and is actually under the control of the government, but no one realizes it. And if that's the case, if that were the case, this might look a little different when you see that the fact that Tether's buying some and among the top 30 of U.S. Treasuries holders. Maybe it's the Fed itself, if Tether has been flipped, operating using Tether as a third arm to juggle the nightmare that is the global economy and the liquidity crisis that exists. Let's look at this now here from the Philadelphia Fed talking about Tether. You need to know what he's saying here in comparison to USDC and Bitcoin as a database. Take a listen to what he says here, ladies and gentlemen.
None of them seem to want to issue stablecoins, even though I think they have a clear green light to do so, for the very simple reason that their customers don't want them. They got other ways to pay to each other. So I think we'll have to see where that goes. The market already, I think, is at work. You don't see a lot of algorithmic stablecoins being sold right now. I think Tether, which is a prime money market fund in disguise, has been losing market share appropriately to Circle, which is much more transparent about its holdings and has lower risk holdings. And also, I think, contrary to some suggestions, the market value of stablecoins is actually decreasing, not increasing. So it does not seem to be a hot button financial stability risk. Word or two on Bitcoin, because of course that's the elephant in a lot of these rooms. I won't talk about whether it's a good store of value or its culture, but it is, I think, clear that as a means of exchange, it is quite poor, as it is slow and it is expensive. So I don't think it will ever be in use for real commerce. It is, of course, the dominant currency for illicit finance, ransomware, sanctions evasion, a lot of awful stuff. And I think that's something that our government and sort of unusual parts of our government are going to have to deal with. I think a very different story.
And then it goes on and on and on. Now, with the numbers of Tether's market cap getting big, I could argue the point that he made there about the demand being less and less for stable coins, because I think with the market scares that are going on right now, a lot of people are flooding into the stable coins, in fact, looking for a place, a safe haven, if you will, to figure out where they're going. I just don't know if USD Tether is that safe haven. Be very careful out here, ladies and gentlemen. Zum Wallet tells us to brace yourselves for a very big reveal on Thursday. I can't wait. We're about to up your trading game, they say, with our newest product. Get ready for the ultimate secure and seamless trading experience from Zum. Shout out to We'd Say When and the team. I cannot wait to find out what that is. Ryan Selkis says here, boy, I tell you, he spent a lot of years talking trash on XRP, but we got to let it go. I got to set it down. He says, as a reminder here, before Chair Gensler was passed over as Treasury Secretary and tasked by Senator Warren to crack down on crypto, he was Hillary's CFO. It will be no surprise that he was slippery then as well, signing off on campaign fund over funding the Steele dossier. Yeah, it's incredible to me the vision one can gain when you realize you're in the same boat as XRP holders. You cannot convince me that Ryan wasn't aware of all of that information prior to now him realizing that all of crypto is in the same boat with XRP. But nevertheless, we're glad to have you paddling with us instead of against us. Let's improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's how we need to do it, ladies and gentlemen. And here we see that, look, you can't say that our efforts don't work. Senator Eric Brakey right here from Maine says that on Tuesday, April 4th at 10:15 p.m., he will present LD 990 to Maine Financial Services Committee, open to the public. This will be the first ever public hearing on cryptocurrency in the Maine legislature. Well, you know what? It looks like John Deaton's been invited to testify at this event here at the Maine's Congress, and I can't wait. I said, let's all show support for the invitation for John Deaton to testify in front of Congress for crypto in Maine. I should have typed that. Politely tag Senator Brakey. Thank you for inviting such a knowledgeable advocate for U.S. innovation. And there you have it right there. John Deaton, would you be willing to testify? They are in talks to try to figure that out right now, and I hope that he's able to do so. I don't know how John Deaton could do any more for this entire crypto space than he's actually doing. God bless the man. Ripple ODL partner, you're going to want every bit of this. I'm going to tell you. Ripple ODL partner launches SEPA payments to Europe, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that happened. I'm sure it's nothing. Tranglo, a Ripple on-demand liquidity partner and leading cross-border payments provider, has announced the launch of an instant single euro payments area, which is known as SEPA solution, aimed at facilitating lightning-fast SEPA payouts to Europe. Supporting countries at launch include Belgium, Croatia, Finland, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Netherlands, Portugal, Slovakia, Spain, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. How about that for starters? However, the company plans to expand its coverage to more countries in the near future, said the CEO of Tranglo. And it says here, emphasized that introducing this service was fueled by the surging demand for real-time cross-border payments. The instant SEPA payment solution is already operational and accessible 24/7. That's what you need to know. And don't forget, Tranglo has a great relationship over in the UAE as well. Tranglo added to UAE as a part of its Connect last August. We like it. Well, here it is. This is Christine Lagarde herself, the European Central Bank president. And she's telling you the digital euro, that decision is coming this year. And it's October, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen.
Well, two things. Number one, it will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23. The reason I'm personally convinced that we have to move ahead is a situation like the one we are in now. We are dependent on the supply of gas by a very unfriendly country. I don't want Europe to be dependent on an unfriendly country's currency. For instance, I don't know, the Chinese currency, the Russian currency, the whatever. Or dependent on a friendly currency, but which is activated by a private corporate entity like Facebook or like Google or anybody like that.
I'm a user of Bitcoin too, so I had bought it when it started, and I hope that it also will work.
Now, I think she's smiling here because we've all known, if you've watched Christine Lagarde, even in her time back when she was the managing director of the IMF, she would say very clearly, it is not the Bitcoin we're talking about. So I think she's smiling here, but she doesn't dig down into the fact that, hey, what we're talking about isn't Bitcoin.
Through the special system. And I know there are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
It's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask in Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the e-euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
And then she goes on to talk about the fact, because I have some other things I want to play you too, that the digital euro will have some limitations. You have a certain limit of how much you could spend. There's going to be a few limitations, and when they kind of know what you did with the money, but she tries to softly apologize for that. Nevertheless, I want you to hear this. This is Anthony Welfare here. Shout out to credit to Dark Horse on TikTok and Peter Vass on Twitter here for sending this over to us. The whole clip is great, but what I want to give you is just a couple clips here, and I want to start with 3 minutes if I can find it. Yeah, that's about right on the spot. Let me play this right here at 3 minutes where he talks about CBDCs, and it doesn't mean that banks are going away, that banks do not go away in this scenario the way a lot of people perceive that they do.
Physically in the bank. Obviously, it's not physical in these days. So that's what we class as regulated stablecoins. And then obviously CBDCs. So these are central bank issued currencies. Now, we don't look at it and say that every central bank will issue a digital currency, a CBDC, that we use, that we buy our food and water with. It could easily be via a commercial bank or a fintech institution. So we don't look at the model being disrupted as people think. Generally, people think a CBDC is going to be a central bank getting rid of commercial banks and getting rid of the system. It just cannot happen in any decent-sized to large countries. It's just fairly impossible. So we still see a similar system, not the same as today. We still see commercial banks, payment providers having a part, playing, a role in this new ecosystem.
And I think that's a very key point that he's making here to show people, you're not going to just all of a sudden make the second tier banks go away, right? And I think that's an important point, especially here at home in the United States and elsewhere, where you have a two-tier banking system between the wholesale back end, the central banking system, right? And then you have the commercial banking system in front of that. So that was a key point, but I want to give you this other one here. And it is really important that you hear this, and it is later on towards the end. Let me see if I can cue this up properly. 1 second here. Okay, so here's where he talks about privacy being important and it can be controlled. Take a listen here. And then he takes you out talking about they have 5 more CBDC projects underway, ladies and gentlemen, under NDAs. Take a listen.
Especially in Germany, it's one of the most important topics. Privacy can be controlled how we want it. So if the government wants full transparency of every transaction, they can have that. Or if they want little transparency, they can have that. It is down to the design of the CBDC and the stablecoin and what the country wants to achieve with it. And then finally, it restructures the cost base. So if you think, the payment system today is slow and it costs a lot of money, there's lots of different stages. Yes, I can go and buy a coffee now and the money goes from my Euro account and I get my coffee. That isn't instant because there's a whole back-end system that actually probably takes 3 days for it to go through if you're using credit cards, etc. So that cost can be reduced using DLT technology, CBDCs and stablecoins. It won't go to zero. People still have to pay this. Maybe in 5, 6, 10 generations, and we're all doing P2P payments with a wallet, maybe that cost does go down very well. But I think that's a generational change or a number of generations.
Here we go.
So what are we learning? So we've got 2 announced projects and then we've got 5 under NDA. 2 announced projects and then we've got 5 under NDA. Learning. So we've got 2 announced projects and then we've got 5 under NDA.
And there you have it. And that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.